ride at its time. It also had the most inversions in the world at that point and held that record for a pretty long time. The current record holder is still Kurt in Kennywood, I think, still, maybe.
For the U.S. For inversions?
That's just the United States record.
The Smiler is the world.
Yeah, that. Get my motivation back still. There's too many coasters.
11 coaster.
Huh?
11 coaster.
I'm talking about like in the world.
Oh.
In the world? Like Thailand.
Yeah, there's places other than Busch Gardens.
No, there's not. You don't pay me. There's 11 coasters here.
The what? I don't want to do the whole VIP experience. But this isn't the VIP experience. No, I know, but like it's like that. The VIP experience, you just have the tour guide to go around for the whole day.
Don't ride it.
Well, now I tell them I won't boast. Oh, I definitely did not walk back here. I walk back here like all the time. Oh, you can walk. I did not walk this way. I would always come that way. Well, what? Oh, you can just walk behind the stage? Oh, man. Well, I mean, they would know. We don't know the park for it. We've been here like 2 days. It's not like camp, huh? Oh yeah, because you can stand here and get really good.
So I was talking to you guys about brakes earlier. So we know about friction brakes, we know about magnetic brakes, and now we get a third one, which is water brakes. So this ride cannot run if this pool is too high or too low. Because if it's too low, then it's going to go screaming into the brake run, which will hurt people's necks. If it's too high, it will slow down and it will valley over there. And that has happened before, so that is not good. We have sensors to monitor this pool level. We have a lot of other things to monitor the pool level. This is pretty important. It's one of the only rides to close when it's only raining, not storming. Just because it can kind of make the pool too high or too low.
Oh, okay.
If you want to stand under the drop, you're welcome. Along with actually helping the ride function, it also is really funny when a bunch of kids get soaked down there.
If you guys ever go to Busch Gardens Tampa and you get off the train right next to the river, if you get off at the wrong time, you're getting sick.
Yeah, it's like in the town.
Oh, so it's not like this where it lands back?
That down there, you don't have to walk that way.
Oh, there's no option.
Yeah.
No option.
So you're
That's
looking
good.
at the train, paying attention, or you just like, people just be walking and they just get splashed. Which is funny when you're not expecting it.
Yeah, it probably feels good when it's hot, but
Yeah, when it's 90,
hot,
when it's 90
If
degrees every
if
day.
you like your socks dry, you're like, what? Fantastic.
They have big signs, but Some people don't pay attention.
What is reading?
They're Florida people. They can't read.
No, they're human. They don't.
Say,
Okay, we're riding first.
Okay.
probably not in Florida when they can read. They do whatever the opposite of the science says.
Yeah, people are like, what do you mean I just showed my ID? And I'm like, did you see under the barcodes and the photo ID is required?
I would say
they had the alligators.
say, yeah.
The alligators. Some guy like jumped into the alligator
I
exhibit.
know, I hated when I went there it was after that and I'm like, I don't like the fence.
And they built a new, bigger fence. They took out the two fences and now they have one big like glass fence. Because people were trying to jump the new fence because they wanted to be the next guy to jump into the thing. Because Florida, that's what Florida people do.
My mom was terrified.
Which that doesn't make any sense to me why anybody on earth would want to jump into an enclosure with a bunch of babies.
I think it was only one week. And the trainer was in there with the gator and she just talking to them, they're all looking at her. I'm like, nope.
Nope. Yep. I go, ah, you're much braver than I am. All right.
I know you can say
All right.
All of you guys riding? Same drill, you can sit anywhere you want. Talk about how evacuation works on this ride. So y'all might have seen like news reports and everything or whatever, or whenever this ride gets e-stopped for some reason, it's like people stuck on roller coaster for 2.5 hours, and you know, because they were over the edge or whatever when the ride got e-stopped or something. So people were like freaking out about it. They're like, oh my god, they were stuck out there for so long. It's because this ride.
There's no way they're getting stopped while they're hanging.
You can.
What?
We'll explain it to you when we get over there. So, I'll wait. So, this ride is a floorless coaster. So there are no floors on this ride. It was the first floorless dive coaster ever built, which is pretty cool. She mentioned Shebra earlier. I was just telling him about it. Shebra is at Busch Gardens Tampa, which is our sister park. That ride is very similar to this one. It is also a dive coaster. It is also floorless. It was built before this one, and it used to not be floorless, but they converted it to floorless after they saw how much cooler ours was than theirs, and they were like, we want that same publicity, we want that same like scare factor that we have here. So they took off their floors, but had to add weights to their trains because they weren't heavy enough to complete the course. That's only because they have 8 seats across instead of us that has 10, which is why our ride is floorless. It was too heavy. So B&M was like, well, we could shave weight here and there and there. And we were like, oh, okay, well, can you take off the floors? And they were like, oh yeah. So took off the floors. When we go back up through this way, actually, we don't go that way because we're going to likeness afterward. When we were walking down, you could kind of see the underside of the floorless system. The floor just drops out from under you after you guys are loaded. So you may be wondering, if this ride gets evacuated, what are people going to stand on when they get off? There's no floor. Which is why this ride is a pain in the butt to evacuate. Right here there's some, but all the way at the very top there are those metal boxes that are kind of hanging over the edge. And those metal boxes are metal floors that they can deploy in the event of an emergency. So they'll take those out and put them on the track and make sure that people are safe to walk on them. Some of them are angled, some of them are flat. Like the trains at the very back, you kind of have a floor built into the train already, but it's not really there because you can't really touch it. So they'll have like angled floors and flat floors and railings to put up so nobody goes onto the wrong side. And then either they'll use this if you're at the very top, or if you're stuck on the lift hill, you have to walk all the way back down. And you know, I don't know how many of you guys are keen to walk down 205 feet of stairs, but I know the ride operators aren't. So if they can keep you stuck on the ride for 2 hours rather than making you guys go through all of that, then they'd rather do that because it just makes it safer for everybody involved. It is annoying and sometimes terrifying to be hanging up there for 2 hours, but me for one, I would rather not have to deal with all of that. So along with kind of emergency procedure, I already showed you guys the lockout tagout station, but this gondola that goes all the way up to the very top for evacuation, it is on its own power system just in case the ride power cuts for this ride, which is why it has a diesel generator down here to power the motor that brings it up to the top. That's a thing that most other coasters in the park do not have. You will be walking up a metal narrow staircase. So please hold on to the hand.
Okay.
Right now, these right here are very similar to those metal floors I was telling you guys about earlier. So this is kind of what it looks like. It will rest on the train and on the track. And in the event of an evacuation, that's what we'll use since this ride has no floors. I can't really show y'all much because they have the wheel carriages deconstructed right now. That's what all of these are back here. So they've taken them off, they're gonna clean them up, refurbish them, and they'll get them ready to go again, put them back on. And then once that is all done, they'll bring another one of those trains in here, do the same exact thing again. So this one is kind of in its like most deconstructed phase that you can really get to. Again, train is resting on those edge pieces right there, on those wheels. Let's put small wheels forward. A lot of people think that this has to do with something on the actual track and like the braking system. This is just extra grip for the drive tires to grab onto. Because you know, water and good friction. So they just have these here just to make the drive tires grip onto this train easier because it's pretty freaking heavy. It's like 6 tons. Fully loaded, even heavier. So right here you have these. Kind of imagine these massive wheel carriages right here, in which you have 3 types of wheels. You have this one first, which is one of the road wheels. It's about 55 pounds by itself. This one Griffon has so graciously donated to us is the, where's it at? It's the tour wheel. So this is ours. And then over here, if you guys want to come a little closer, is the punch system I was telling you guys about how this wheel can't be used anymore. So the whole reason this was donated to us is because it's already been resurfaced 5 times. That's what these 5 punches right next to it, serial number 4. If you guys want to hold it, you can. It's about
That's heavy, isn't it?
50, 55 pounds. If you want to. But, you know, it'd be kind of cool to have a bench press with these as your weights.
That would be really good. That would be really
plates.
cool. That would be really cool.
But this one, very nice donation from Griffon. Speak here. I gotta work on that too. So over here, these are the wheel carriages. So there's 6 of them on one train. That's what these giant like unpainted circles are you see here. Normally they would be attached to there, but they got reconstructed right now. So you can kind of imagine how large they are. This is the road wheel, so this is what actually rides at the top of the track. Over here, these smaller ones, those are the guide wheels and the upstop wheels. So the guide wheels allow the train to stay on the track and turn at the same time. The upstop wheels allow the train to stay on the track and goes upside down, or goes through like airtime moments, that kind of stuff. These wheel carriages are very unique compared to the wheel carriages on other coasters at this park, in the way that they can actually rotate 360 degrees and still be okay. That would never happen when the ride's in operation, obviously. If it did, something is very bad. Something is going wrong. That's not good, but it will never happen. They also have forward, backward motion, side to side. It's a lot of degrees of freedom on those wheel carriages, and that's why this ride is so incredibly smooth, just because there's so many different ways the train can move and accommodate that movement. This was also the first ride in the park that was done entirely in simulation systems and on the computer before they built it. So everything that was built previous to this ride was all done with drafting and hand calculations and old-fashioned pencil paper stuff. This was all done in CAD and computer simulations, which is another reason why this ride is so smooth. I think the tolerance on this ride when they were building was about 1/64 of an inch, which is pretty small. Probably about, I'd say, 1 mil. Very small. When we go to Loch Ness, I'll kind of show you. We like to say that Loch Ness has a 6-foot tolerance, 2 meters.
We use spaces.
Yeah. Just joking with you. So we like to say that it has a 6-foot tolerance, and that's only because they did the track. They built the track in one loop. So they started at the station and went around. And when they got back to the station, the track was 6 feet left of what it was supposed to be. So what they did is they got people from the shipyard to come over here with their oxygen torches, heat up the track and bend it into place instead of just sending it back and getting them to remanufacture it. They took matters into their own hands, which is why prior to this retrack, when you were re-entering into the station, it was a kind of abrupt turn. You kind of like shifted into the station. It was like, why is that there? That's why that was there. It's still, you can still kind of feel it on the new retrack, but it's a little less pronounced since it was actually intended to be this way this time. I'll show you guys when we go over there about all the new stuff that they got over there for the refurbished Loch Ness Monster. But let's talking about brakes again earlier. This is where those brake pads would go for the friction brakes. Up here, the brake fins for the magnetic brakes come out this way. They mount to these flanges here. And then the...
Farther back.
Huh?
Water brakes are farther back.
Yeah. They're actually... There's nobody outside.
They're out. Why did you do that?
This is just an area where they park one of these trains. At the end of the day, they put one train in there, one train right here. Use the transfer track to take them out and back on the track. What I wanted to show you guys was these. So these are the chutes for the water brakes. So they dip down into the water, pick it up, divert some of that energy into the water, and push it up into the air. There's 2 of these on each train, and they're on the very back. Here's some of the panels they got to ride. These are all sheet metal on Loch Ness. It's fiberglass. But this is another one of those areas where they kind of like use this for another one of those extra spaces.
Where we going? Anything.
Camera angle.
Yeah, I was like, I can get Griffon's
Right here.
second time.
But there is but we have another chain dog on this ride. This is a reverse chain dog. And so basically what happens is that when we and I were watching the ride, I listened out for a really loud click and that started counting.
Dispatch all operations units, be advised that both three team member related at the smokehouse.
Huh?
No one's drinking water today.
They don't have time to. So basically, and what happens is that a click was the chain dog releasing because it would stay up and it would cause problems with the first main chain dog. And then it's grabbed the chain at the top of the lift that slowly brings you down. So you're not stuck. You're just moving so slow you don't notice movement. And it could be four beats, like if you're musically inclined, I'm not. That's why I count to 6. It's more like 5 seconds, but I count quickly because I want it to be over. So it's 6 seconds, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So yeah, so that happens. And then I covered everything here.
Yes, we go outside and show you guys. So she told you that it's actually a chain that hangs here over the edge. You don't actually stop moving, you keep moving forward a little bit. So if you go outside and time this right,
Nice.
so we got a train going up right now. I want you guys to kind of watch it when it goes over the edge and listen for that click that she was saying. And then I guess count to yourself.
Can those be disabled?
What are you talking about?
The holding lift?
Yes, and I'll explain that to you in just a second. So that's that click. It moves. So
That is weird. You keep moving, but you feel like you're stopped.
yep. So the ride can actually turn off and on whether or not you do the dive portion of the dive coaster. So sometimes if there's an issue with the chain dog or with the train itself, it will just go straight over the edge. It's already going really slow, so you're not going to be going any faster than you normally would be. You kind of see, but there's drive tires up there as well, along with friction brakes that keep you at a constant speed. So if they really wanted to, they could just turn off the dive system entirely and you could just go through it. I don't know how much footage there is of that, but I'm pretty sure there is somewhere.
I know. I saw one of the one in SeaWorld San Diego.
Yeah, it's not entirely uncommon that it happens, but sometimes it does. But that
It should be cool.
There's like a structure on the underside of the track. It's kind of like an orangish reddish color. In that is the emergency chain that they use to pull you back over the edge, from over the edge, if the ride gets emergency stops there and they need to get you off the ride. So what they'll do is they'll attach that to the back of your train, attach that to the motor that's up there, and roll you guys back up over the top. Which is what that extra chain dog helps with. There's more of those boards and that extra catwalk underneath is because there's a separate motor up there for all the chains and stuff to do the dive system up there. So they have that extra catwalk there to work on the coaster. Last year, something broke up there. The ride was closed for like 3 days, and they wheeled in like a 200-foot tall crane, parked it right here, and had it go all the way up to the top, and there were dudes working up there with their harnesses on. It was kind of scary. I would hate to. Busch Gardens has construction companies on speed dial because this is their most popular ride. If this is closed for an extended period of time, it's not good. There's a reason why if you look at any commercial or promotional photo for this park, this ride is always there and locked down. For some reason, It's their like poster child. One thing I like to show you guys. So these are these B&M A-frame supports I was telling you guys about. We also told you about the neighborhood that's next door. We like to keep sound down. Have any of you guys been to Cedar Point?
Long time.
Okay. So it's not the only coaster that does it. It's the easiest one for me to explain because I've been there as well. There's one roller coaster there that was also built by the same manufacturer. And it's called Rougarou, if you guys know about it. That coaster famously does not have any sand in its supports at all. So it is extremely loud whenever it's running. This support, since it's part of the lift hill, doesn't have any sand in it at all. So when I tap on it, you can hear it echo inside. Those supports over there though, those are filled with sand. If I tapped on them, you would hear just a dull thunk noise. That's because whenever you put sand in the supports, keeps those vibrations down and it allows the coaster to be quieter and it doesn't roar as much. So all of the roaring noises that you hear from this coaster whenever it's running through, it's just the wind on the train. Over here is the pool system for the ride. So one special thing that these mechanics have to be certified for is they have to have a pool certification, which is kind of weird. But this pool system is the exact same pool system you'd see at Water Country, at your pool, at the clubhouse pool, or whatever. It's the exact same thing. It's just bigger. So that pool is chlorinated. Everything is done to it to keep it clean. And this is where all that regulation happens.